Hello, I'm Lindsay Ren. I'll be presenting the cultural and literary context of Seamus Heaney's poems. In his writing, Heaney seeks to preserve the memory of both his past and cultural identity through presenting the intimate moments of his life backgrounded by the cultural context of his Irish heritage. The impact of his surroundings and the details of his upbringing on his literary works are immense. As a Catholic in Protestant Northern Ireland, Heaney once described himself as someone who emerged from a buried life and entered the realm of education. Heaney often writes of his own childhood, which he spent on a rural Irish farm. In digging, Heaney digs into his past memories, recalling the spade work of his father and his grandfather and simultaneously digging into the Irish cultural past of potatoes and peat. In A Kite for Michael and Christopher, he educates his sons about life and death through the metaphor of kite flying. Also, in the ending of Personal Helicon, as he writes, "Now, to pry into roots, to finger slime, is beneath all adult dignity. I rhyme to see myself, to set the darkness echoing." He reflects on who he is, just as the water at the bottom of the wells reflects his childish face, even though well water, of course, reflects the face of anyone who looks into it. His poetry is an exploration of the past, just like his childhood of investigating wells, being inspired by the sound of digging and observing the life of a kite. Even though Heaney's poetry mostly reflects on his own past, the cultural context of his works not only reflects the past on anyone, but, more importantly, is an intimate connection to many of his readers. All of Heaney's readers have been children, fascinated by mysteries, and can relate to the modern technological override of the past. Heaney's purpose in writing poetry, however, is not to advocate a return to the good old days of traditional Ireland. He instead recalls the Irish past because understanding and remembering the past is an integral part of understanding and signifying the present. He preserved the past because it helps people understand their heritage, which extends to their understanding of their identity in the present. In addition to the subject matter, the cultural context of his poetry reminds people of the significance of preserving the past by digging into and reflecting on his own childhood memories and Irish traditions. Heaney's literary styles and themes are inspired by his past memories, translating Greek plays and other authors who work with their own heritage. As a poet, Heaney was interested in engaging deeply with a range of literary traditions. His work shows the influence of Dante and Virgil, and he translated ancient Greek plays. Significantly, Heaney was also interested in the English language and its history. As an Irish poet, Heaney was interested in the complexities of language and linguistic inheritance. English was, after all, the language imposed on Ireland through British colonialism. Heaney studied Irish, Latin, and Anglo-Saxon or Old English, and his work shows the influence of all of these languages. Heaney was especially moved by the artists who created poetry out of their local native backgrounds. Authors such as Ted Hughes, Patrick Kavanagh, and Robert Frost. In fact, Heaney once noted in an interview that his local county Derry childhood experience, which he had considered archaic and irrelevant to the modern world, was to be trusted, taught him that trust and helped him to articulate it. Heaney's works has always been most concerned with the past, even his earliest poem of the 1960s. According to Morrison, a general spirit of reverence toward the past helped Heaney resolve some of his awkwardness about being a writer. He could serve his community by preserving in literature its customs and crafts, yet simultaneously gain access to a larger community of letters. Indeed, Heaney's earliest poetry collections, Death of a Naturalist and Door into Dark, evoke a hard, mainly rural life with rare exactness. In his poem, both language and memories are there to be mined, to be dug at, in order to cultivate poetry. On a separate note, Heaney's poem, Follower, like digging, explores the poet's relationship with his father, an Irish farmer. Heaney considered John Keats, an Irish poet from 1795 to 1821, of his greatest influences. In his 1995 Nobel Prize lecture, Heaney calls Keats' Ode to Autumn an arc of the covenant between language and sensation. In Heaney's epic poem, McCain Lookout, Heaney imitates couplets similar to those found in Keats' pastoral poetry. Heaney expands, however, on the form of run-on pentameter couplets by using them as a dark reflection. Heaney was also influenced by Irish poetic tradition, especially the poet Patrick Kavanagh, whose poetry on a rural life gave Heaney the courage to begin writing of his early life and to realize that his personal experiences were good subject matter for his work. Contemporary Irish poets such as John Hewitt, Thomas Kinsella, and John Montague were among those who inspired Heaney. Heaney's poems are inspired by his own past experiences and the other great writers. Through his poems, the readers can see the preservation of the past, in both the use of his memories and drawing inspirations from his personal heritage. Heaney was created immensely intimate works that not only appeal to his life, but simultaneously each of his readers' own lives. Perhaps therein lies the essence of art, its ability to draw an intimate connection between two strangers' memories. Thank you.